Hi everyone, this is Miss Kelly, and today I'm going to walk you through a practice English PARCC test. Here's my contact information. You can always call the school and ask for me, or you can send me an email, whichever one is more convenient for you. If you have questions about this presentation or anything related to testing, please do not hesitate to contact me. Alright, so we are going to the PARCC practice test, and here is the web address, so parcc.pearson.com/practice-test. A lot of times when I'm looking for this, I just Google it. So if you Google PARCC practice test, you will find the screen pretty easily. So we are going to be doing the English test today. So I'm going to click on View English Practice Test, and then it's going to give me some choices. If you watched one of our previous presentations, the Intro to PARCC, you'll know that all that is available right now for practice tests for English language arts are the performance-based assessments, and they're supposed to come out with the end of year English tests later on in the month of November. All right. So let's pick a grade. These are all the grades that are available currently. Let me pick one in the middle. So let's go for 7th grade. And as we walk through this, I'm not going to be so concerned about getting the answers right, just showing you the functionality and the features of the test. If you would like to take it yourself, there are rubrics that are attached to it that will help you figure out what the right answers are. So there are two different versions. So it says that this set contains all performance-based assessment tasks. So there are 3 tasks that fall under that: the narrative writing task, the research task, and the literary analysis task. All right, we have 2 different versions we can do. We can do the standard version, or we can do the screen reader version. The screen reader version will be the version that students can use if they have a human reader or a screen reader on their IEP. Let's do the regular one so you can see what that would look like. Alright, so again, we're in the 7th grade. It's going to give us some general directions, and it's going to prompt us to start the test now. Notice that I did not have to put in any kind of username or password or anything like that. It's got me logged on as a guest, which is perfectly fine. Alright, there's 23 questions in this session. Let's go ahead and start. Alright, one thing you can notice right away is there is a passage that is longer than fits in a box, so students have to scroll up and down. The paragraphs are numbered, and this is because some of the questions will refer to specific paragraphs. So again, I'm not going to, since this video can only be so many minutes long, I'm not going to, talk through all the right answers. We're just showing you the functionality. So notice this question has 2 parts. It has a part A and a part B. So when this happens, then to be able to answer part B, you have to first answer part A. So what's the meaning of recurrence as it's used in paragraph 16 of the Count of Monte Cristo? So you have to go, student would go back. They would look for the numbered paragraph. So here's paragraph 16. They'd select what they think the best answer is, then go on to the next question. It says, which evidence from the Count of Monte Cristo supports the correct answer in part A? So they will need to support their answer. And again, it's giving paragraphs and it's giving choices for answers. So they select their answers, and when they're ready to move on to the next page, they can go on to the next question. Again, we see another part A or part B dealing with the same excerpt. Let me show you a couple other things in here. One thing that is kind of interesting is the answer eliminator. So as students are going through and maybe they eliminated option A and option C, this lets them kind of cross out, just like we would on a paper pencil test, cross out the answers they know that are wrong. So that's kind of neat. I think the students will like that. There are also some options over here. So there's a magnifier. So the magnifier lets students magnify specific words. I don't think this one will be as useful for most of our students, but it is an option, something they have to turn on and off. One thing I like is is the line reader. So the line reader, whoops, right, that's one of the downsides of using a computer here. You have to be comfortable using your mouse. Okay, so here's the line reader. Students can adjust the size, so it could let them look at just one part of the screen at a time. Some of our students use this type of tool in their everyday reading, and now they can use it on the computer too. Again, it's something they'd have to be, comfortable playing with, and it's something that we turn on and off just like the magnifier. Another option, let me go ahead and select a couple answers so we can go on to the next page. Another option that students have is to flag the question for review. So if they're not sure maybe that they answered this question correctly, they can flag it and come back to it later, which could be good as long as they remember to come back to it later. All right, so we have another Part A and Part B. Notice that a lot of these, the Part B is really about the evidence supporting Part A. So Part A, what's the central idea of the Count of Monte Cristo? Part B, what evidence from the Count of Monte Cristo best supports the answer to Part A? And ideally, the students would continuously be going back to this text and making sure that they're selecting answers based on the text. So let's keep clicking through. We can get to a different type of question. Here's a different type of question. This is a drag and drop. All right, so let's see. In Blessing, I'm going to read this. In Blessings, the stage directions help the reader better understand the scene. Match the stage directions to their functions in the play by placing the stage directions in the appropriate box. Not all options will be used. Okay, we would have to go read the passage. Remember, these are 7th grade questions. And then we would drag and drop. So we're trying to match up the stage direction with how the directions contribute to the meaning. Okay, so a lighthearted mood is established. This makes sense to me. They exit playfully. So trying to match these things up to see how it automatically drops in there. We also, if we change our answer, can pull it out, which is kind of neat. One thing that we'll work with our students on is, you really have to, put what you want in the right box. And there's a lot of this where they give you right here, not all options will be used. They give you more answers than what you need, which might be kind of different for some of our students. Okay, so don't forget the options over here, the magnifier and the line reader. And the option here is the answer eliminator, which isn't really appropriate for this type of question. It's used on the multiple choice questions. Okay. All right, this one is interactive. So it's talking about the characters are inspired by the setting. It says to select 2 lines from the play, 1 for each character that support the idea. So the students would select their options, and that's how they answer the question. So notice that some of these are all about understanding what the question is asking for. Let's look at another one. Okay, so here's one of the essay passages. So we have, again, the excerpt from A Count of Monte Cristo and the excerpt from Blessings, the play. And students will have to know to toggle between these things, and again, scrolling up and down as they need to read more of it. All right, we're writing an essay. So it says, you have read a passage from The Count of Monte Cristo and a scene from Blessings. Think about the similarities and differences and how 2 authors develop the themes in each text. Write an essay in which you identify a theme from each text and analyze how each theme is developed. Be sure to include specific details from both selections. Okay, and remember this is a 7th grade question. So they would type their answers directly into the box. I don't know if there's a character limit. We haven't really played with it that long. So they would type in their answer and then move on to the next question. Okay, let me flip through since we're running short on time for this video. So again, more excerpts, more Part A, Part B, with the Part B being the support for the answer. Okay, here's an interesting one. This is one of those video questions you may have heard about. So it's asking kind of the same types of questions they were asking about the text. So in this segment, what does the word commercial mean? What detail from the segment best supports the answers? The same types of questions, except this time it's based on a video. So the student would watch the video. All the students will have headphones during the test. It's referring to segments, so instead of chapters or sentences. It's kind of interesting. Okay, let's keep going. So the same video again, asking different types of questions. Here's one of those pesky questions where there's more than one right answer. So it says, after watching the video, they're going to place check marks next to all the activities that are needed to successfully turn on an LED light. Note that some of the possible activities listed are incorrect. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different choices. So they might select 6 choices. They might select 2 choices. The students aren't told if it's right or wrong. It should be a challenge for our students. Or if there's a right or wrong number of answers, excuse me. Okay, so here's more of that. Notice that this reading that we're asking them to do is more informational types of text. It's not a story like the Count in Monte Cristo and the play Blessings. Okay, we're continuing with this one. Another drag and drop. This time they're drag and dropping their selections in the order that they should appear in the table. So they're going back to the text and figuring out what order these things would go in. Okay. Here's another one of those essays, but this time they're comparing 3 different things. So we're comparing this passage called Energy Story, this article called Conducting Solutions, and the video, the Squishy Circuits video. In this essay, compare the purposes of the 3 sources, then analyze how each source uses explanations, demonstrations, or descriptions of the experiment to help accomplish its purpose. Be sure to discuss important differences and similarities between the information gained from the video and the information provided in the article. Support your response with evidence from each source. Definitely something that could be a challenge for students. Again, this is a 7th grade practice test. Okay, I'm going to speed up a little bit because I'm running out of time. Same thing, passage, part A, part B asking for evidence, supporting evidence. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right, this one they're selecting 2 sentences from the paragraphs, and it gives them paragraphs 13 through 23 to show how this character's body language suggests an emotional reaction. It says more than 2 sentences are correct. So they might select 3, or they might think that 3 of them are correct, but they're only selecting 2. So notice how important it is for them to read the directions and to understand the directions so they know what they're doing. Keep flipping. Here is our 3rd essay. So there were 3 different types of essay on this one. This is the narrative prompt. So in this one, let's see. They're writing an original story that describes what Kevin does next to try to change Howie's mind about paying for Cromwell's testing. So it's giving them some guidance, but basically they're writing a narrative in response to this passage that they just read. All right, and then it's telling us that we're finished with the test. It's going to prompt us and say that there are 14 or however many unanswered questions, and it gives me the option as a student. So I can either review my answers and go back, or I can submit my final answers. And hopefully our students will review their answers, and they'll be able to go back to a list. Remember number 4, back about 10 minutes ago, I said we were skipping. I can go back to it and now select my answers. And I can keep going back to reviewing and seeing which ones that I haven't answered. So all these are functionalities of the program that students could certainly use and find useful as long as they know where to find them and how to use them. Okay, so I'm out of time, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, please contact me at the Frost School. You can email me or call me. And remember that there are several practice tests in here, so if you'd like to take a different grade level, maybe the grade level that your student's in, that would be great. Thank you, everyone. Bye.